News at 11.
New tonight, the family of a man shot and killed by police and their attorney released video of the deadly incident. Thanks for joining us. I'm Christelle Kunway. The shooting happened after a police chase and car crash near Milwaukee this summer. Then, 2 weeks ago, a grand jury cleared a trooper and a deputy of wrongdoing. Now, Derek Clark's mother wants the public to see the videos. Alma McCarty reviewed the newly released clips. Alma?
Well, Christelle, we do want to warn viewers up front that the footage is painful and difficult to watch. However, because Clark's family specifically shared it with us for the sake of transparency, we are choosing to show the interaction in full. There are two angles, the body cam and dash cam video.
In late November, a Clackamas County grand jury determined 2 law enforcement officers would not face criminal charges in the shooting death of Derek Clark, a 24-year-old man from Tigard. At the time of his death, his family says Clark was a teacher in training with a nonprofit providing support and counseling to inmates. On Friday, Clark's mother, Sarah Miles, and her attorney released police body cam and dash cam video, saying she is angry about the grand jury's decision to clear the Oregon State Police trooper and the Clackamas County Sheriff's deputy of wrongdoing. Video clips show the inside of a patrol car and the lights and sirens on during the early morning hours of June 18th. According to the DOJ, both officers tried to stop Clark, suspecting he was driving under the influence of intoxicants. When he didn't stop, they followed on a high-speed chase. Then Clark's car stopped in a ditch.
1915, he crashed.
The situation escalated in around 6 seconds as officers, then Clark, step out of the vehicles.
Show me your hands! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Gun, 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 gun! Gun, 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 gun!
The officers fired several more shots as Clark can be seen running away. In a statement, Clark's mother says, "No one has yet to tell me why my son was shot in the first place. My son was running away from the police when they shot him. He did not threaten anyone, and he should be with us here today."
It is a absolute tragic circumstance.
We spoke with Dr. Keith Taylor, a former public safety professional with NYPD and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, for an outside perspective on what the video shows.
I think this situation, and from what we can see from the video, highlights the difficulties that are involved in this police work and how decisions have to be made, life and death situations within milliseconds.
Taylor believes a combination of factors, from the noncompliance with police orders to the gun in Clark's hand, led to the officer's actions that night.
So one thing that I think is important is there is also this backdrop of race. You cannot ignore the statistics that show the inequities in terms of when lethal force is used and how it's used based on race. But you also have to look at the individual actions that are involved in each of these cases.
Clark's family seeks the release of the grand jury transcript and intends to file a lawsuit, according to their attorney. Christelle?
Thanks, Alma. And in developing news from Southeast, Portland police say a body was found in Powell Butte Nature Park a little after 3 this afternoon. They believe the person died under suspicious circumstances and are asking anyone with information to contact police. One person is also dead in a possible stabbing in Southeast Portland's Centennial neighborhood. Now, this happened late this morning along Southeast Powell by 170th Avenue. Police have told us so far they've detained one person in the case and are not looking for additional suspects. It all started with reports of a disturbance at the Meadow Park East apartments. Officers found a person injured with possible stab wounds. The victim died. People in the area told us today the violence is troubling.
Yeah, it seems to be happening every couple days. I mean, you look on the news, you hear something happening like every 2 days, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we're living in Chicago or something, honestly. That's pretty much what it feels like. And it's like no one can do anything. I mean, it feels like that's just kind of like a dead end thing. And it's sad because it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm not even sure it got to be this way, honestly.
According to police, this is the 91st homicide in Portland this year, the most in any one year. The Portland Police Bureau is changing its policy about naming officers who use deadly force. The Bureau will now release the name of officers within 50 days of use of force incidents. The previous policy required the department to identify officers within 24 hours. But since this July, PPB has withheld the names of officers in these incidences, citing credible safety threats for the officers. The FBI requested the Bureau temporarily withhold the names pending investigations into the threats. For more on the policy and the names of all the officers that hadn't been released since July, head to KGW.com. Now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. 2 people accused of illegally selling psychedelic mushrooms appeared in court today. Their arrests came after police raided a downtown Portland business yesterday. Police seized 22 pounds of psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, from Shroom House on West Burnside. Officers also recovered more than $13,000 in cash. Shroom House attracted long lines of customers over the past week. Under Oregon's legal psilocybin program, people 21 and over are allowed to take the substance in a regulated therapeutic clinical setting when it takes effect next year. But the retail sale of psilocybin is not allowed. An American journalist has died while covering the World Cup in Qatar. According to multiple news organizations, Grant Wall reportedly collapsed in the press area during the Argentina-Netherlands quarterfinal match. His official cause of death has not been released, but he did post on his personal website earlier this week that he had suffered a cold that became severe. Wall was 48 years old. Now to an update on Highway 30 between Astoria and Clascanay, where crews are still working to clean up a landslide that happened there last week. The slide is about 20 miles east of Astoria and shut down a section of the road. ODOT opened one lane over the weekend, but the lane will only stay open at night. During the day, all lanes will be shut between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. so that cleanup can continue. If you're headed that way, you can definitely expect some long delays and keep an eye out for flaggers and other crews. Now, there's a new effort to clean up several neglected city blocks in downtown Portland. The Salvation Army says its own building is an eyesore. So it launched a new project called One Block at a Time to pick up trash and wash graffiti at its women's shelter on 2nd and West Burnside. And as Brian Clerkley shows us, more work is planned in the works.
Scrubbing graffiti and picking up trash. That's what several volunteers from the Salvation Army, Downtown Portland Clean and Safe, and Central City Concern spent the morning doing on the corner of Burnside and 2nd Avenue. These are some of the before photos of the area. Crews got a good start getting the graffiti off the Salvation Army Female Emergency Shelter. You could see paint coming off the wall and coloring the sidewalk. This program is called One Block at a Time.
We're just covering this block, 2 or 3 blocks around here, and there's an area behind this building that has a lot of trash accumulation in it, so we're going to try and get rid as much as we can.
This graffiti is a huge eyesore for the Salvation Army that serves 300 meals a day, and it's a tedious job. It'll take 2 days to get all of this completely off of the building.
The graffiti is a challenge. It sort of gives this impression that we're closed and nothing's happening here, that it's an abandoned building, when that's not the case.
Organizers say the goal is to continue with these cleanups, but there's no set date for the next one. But today, 75 bags of trash and the entire block of graffiti gone. Some employees at Dan and Louie Oyster Bar across the street say they're skeptical about how long the cleanliness will last.
By the end of the day, give it not even 24 hours and it's going to look the same way again.
In Portland, I'm Brian Clerkley, KGW News.